Welcome to TRS Clips, India's fastest learning portal. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. We gotta do Twitter questions with you. A lot of questions have come in actually about the opposite of happiness, which is just tough times, dealing with fame, especially when you are a public figure, so much of your life is like out there. So have you had tough times? For example, someone called Jaya Teja asks, in the past, Rana has faced some health issues and maybe some issues in his relationships. So keeping the movies aside, how is it possible for him to be so creative? And what is the thing that keeps him pushing his own limits in terms of a professional front? How do you rise from the past and what beliefs make you rise?
I've come from a firm belief that if there's something that's putting you down, it's only when you overcome that is what makes you who you are. And so whatever challenge that's been, whether it's health or film or anything in that sense, always taken it in a way like, how do you beat this, right? And that's the kind of guy I am. And I've always believed there was really never a sense of competition, because I just never assumed I was competing with anybody or anything, because there was a story that I was telling which was always unique and didn't matter if it costed 100 crores or if it costs 1 crore. It's, to me, a story is a story in that sense. And whether it's a animated 30-second short that I make or a 30-hour series, it goes with the same intent. So I think if you remove the sense of finances and why you're doing what you're doing, if you just get to an everyday sense of it and look at each of the material that you've got to work in as a separate thing, right? And then that's, to me, that's one part of it. And with that comes fame, but being famous is really a job. It's separate of all of these things. It's certain things you have to do. It needs to be done. There are certain cautious things you have to do, or XYZ. But I mean, and I've also never bothered so much in terms of doing the right thing, wrong thing. So whatever happened kept happening, and I kept moving forward.
Did you have any dark phases though on a personal level? Like, did you go into any form of self-pity at any point? I mean, it's normal. I know. I'm not talking about if you stretched that self-pity emotion, but did you ever feel a sense of darkness around you?
Yeah, definitely at times. See, there'll be times when you are. When you're super successful in film, but then your health is taken a toss, you don't know if you can put yourself back to doing another film again. Now that's a dark place to be in. But how does that change is if you move out of it and find what your purpose is actually. And if there's a story the story is what drove me out of it, and say, here you go, you need to get this story done, right? So I think each of us will take a piece from what we love. Like I remember, I said this in an interview earlier. Like there was a time when the day I got diagnosed, I remember when the doctors came out and said I had some serious amount of BP, I had a bunch of organs that failed, you need whatever. Now it's information that never came to me as it's too much information to process. But then the only thing that got me out in like probably 2 days from that is in the same city that I went to this hospital in America, in Rochester, there was the Infinity War play, and I had dubbed for Thanos in Telegu. So Marvel only shows you a part of the film and doesn't show you the whole film. So I knew what Thanos did, but I didn't know what the rest of the Avengers did. And when I went and watched Infinity War, the end of the film, all the Avengers die and Thanos wins. Now, to me, someone in a mind space that's so off, to watch a film where you've dubbed for Thanos, now you start looking like that character because you're big and you also have a beard like that, and you can talk like him in that context, and then it brings you out of to joy and it brings you back to life, right? So to me, cinema, stories, comics, that kind of brought me back to what I needed to do.
Wow.
So likewise, each one will find what they love the most, whether it's music for somebody, whether it's reading for somebody, it doesn't matter what it is. You just got to find what you love and then find the best in there. Like, for example, what I do now is not very different from what I did when I was a kid. Like, I like the same things when I was a kid, I like the same things when I grew up. It's just different function of how I behave with them.
I appreciate you sharing this heaviness, dude. Like, it's not an easy thing to say on a public platform. So I appreciate that. Jhalak Rawal asks, Do you have a sense of belief in God, and does it play any role in your career?
See, there's a belief system and a belief in self which is very, very firm. And if it's a sense of God, to me, it's a sense of what you're able to do with yourself. That's really the energy that is. And I'm not religious in a format where I leave faith in something else or someone else. But I'm a great reader or learner of everything that's old and comes from ancient knowledge.
Do you read spiritual books?
Have been on and off, but really in a direction of stories. Whether it's anything, whether it's a book also, it comes to me like a story. It doesn't come to me like anyone saying something.
Right.
So that's always how I've been taking things. And from that story will come morals, values, thoughts, philosophy, everything.
Okay, Rishabh Vanwani asks, how does Rana juggle shoots, business, work, and stay consistent and avoid burnouts, because it might get overwhelming? And this is something that any creative professional faces.
One is because I guess I'm just thrown with stuff that's so new all the time. It's very hard to get burnt out because you're not doing the same thing at all. If you take 15 years of my career, there's not one thing that I've done the second time. It's either been scaling that to a different degree or doing something that's 100% different from what I last did. So I think that keeps you going consistently, that because everything is new, it's like every time you're trying to figure out how to get it done. And finally, you're doing things that only bring you joy. Yeah, and I guess in a sense, it brings the others joy also once you put that out. So I guess in both ways, it just works.
Yeah. I also want to echo this verse from the Gita that kind of popped up in my head through your definition of joy, which is karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, which means that you just give your work your all without caring about your results or competition or wins or losses.
And then that's it. That'll get you to where you are to get.
Okay, the Nainagram asks, do you listen to podcasts? Because you do seem like a dude who listens to podcasts. I don't know why. If yes, what type of podcast do you listen to and what do you enjoy?
Anything that is random, irreverent, ridiculous, nonsense and extremely unique in terms of point of view, I like to listen to. And doesn't matter what topic, what genre. It can be about an automobile, it can be about somebody going to space. Doesn't matter, but just if I get a point of view that is very new and unique, I'd like to listen to it.
Maybe check out certain episodes of the Ranveer Show. Like certain episodes. Okay. Okay, this is a very nice question. Raghu Deshmukh asks, Rana's a huge fan of Mahabharata. How important is the Mahabharata for Rana in real life? How does he implement lessons from the Mahabharata in real life?
See, that's the beauty about these epic tales here. Like every part of it, you can piece to what you are wanting to do. If you assume you are fighting a war and you got to get certain, and your tasks become your enemies and you need to get them done. I mean, that's a literal way of taking everything that you've read in the Mahabharata and putting it to use. And if you see after a point, all these characters become energies. And I see if I'm saying if the energy of Arjuna is channeled in you, right, when you're doing a certain task, then you become the Arjuna there and you get it done. Or vice versa, you want to be another character and get it done. So if you can take a story strong enough as an energy and be able to implement it in life, I think that's pretty much why these were written in the first place.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer, man. And obviously the follow-up question for me is there a particular character of the Mahabharata that stays with you? Like for me, it's Arjun. That's why I've got a bow and arrow tattooed for the same reason. But for the exact reason that you said.
For me, it's always been different at different times, right? Because I think you are thrown in different positions. See, I'm saying whether it's you become a Duryodhana at a point, you become... See, which is why all those characters are not right, not wrong. They stay in the grey, and that's really what our mankind is made of, right? I'm saying there's nothing that extremely is right with us or wrong with us. There is a midway and a grey that we're all living in, and we got to figure the right and keep moving forward.
Right. Slightly controversial question, but feel free to answer it in whatever way you wish. Nikunj 11921559 asks, all we see is the bright side of the film industry. Can Rana share some light on anything that's dark that the Aam Janta wouldn't know?
There's nothing really dark. I mean, dark is what's really made of. It's a place where someone's coming to tell stories. So it's not really complicated in that sense. And see, what I can tell now, which I couldn't tell before, is the sense of amount of opportunity that's available. Right now, I think if it's the fourth industrial revolution we're in, it's content and stories that have taken front seat with everything. Whether you want to launch a brand, whether you want to make a film, it's the idea or the core piece of storytelling that matters across the board. So I think today the sense of being a storyteller or being in the creative industry has many, many more perks and gives you a longevity in terms of career. See, there's no other career that you can do for as long as you live. Right? I'm saying I can continue being an actor for as long as I live if I can consistently be good at it. Same applies to a musician, XYZ, whatever you are. So that's the beauty of the arts. It's got no age, it's got no limit to bar in terms of anything, and it lets you be.
Got it. Interesting question. Amit Mishra asks, how did Rana handle the pressure of not telling anybody why Katappa killed Baahubali?
There was no one logical answer to it, and whatever happened through Ballal Dev, the character I played. And to me, I was just every time someone asked that, I was very happy that someone asked it, because I know that's someone that's going to watch the film when part 2 comes out.
Are you alright sharing your so again, the character you played in Baahubali, you had to bulk up for it. So could you just run the audiences through the bulking process? This is what Praneeth N asks. And also the follow-up question is, would you ever do it again? Would you bulk up that much for a character?
Yeah, if I have to play Ballal Dev again, for sure. There's no two ways about it. But see,
does it take a toll on your body?
But that's the fun about this job, no? You don't want to be the same guy every single morning. I mean, you're now on a different set, you got to be a different human being, so you look different. But yeah, but obviously Baahubali Ballal Dev has been the toughest human character that I had to ever build. And it was 6 to 8 meals every single day for about 4 years of my life, and training twice a day, whether it's with very, very little or no breaks at all. And you repeat that for 5 years in terms of consistency, and that's what you get.
Girish Ageskekar asks, is there any sort of a void in your life right now? And if there is, what are you doing to fill it, or are you thinking of filling it?
Nothing. The only void that's there in my life is the theatres in Bombay are not open that much in North India. And I'm just waiting for most of the COVID vaccine to be distributed amongst everyone and get movies back again. And that's how I will fill that void, with putting my film in the theatres. So that's all it is.